Om. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Morning, also known as Manana Mornings. In our culture of self-development, manana, or reflection, has a very specific utility. Does anyone know what that utility is? It is to clear doubts. If you find that you have a lot of doubts about yourself, about what to do, about what's shared from the Bhagavad Gita, etc., this is indicative that not enough manana is being offered. So those doubts are not being purged. For the one who is offering manana, the opposite of doubt would be clarity. What comes with that? Conviction. What comes with that? Confidence. In the mornings, when I'm helping to get our children ready, then I encourage them to brush their teeth. So our older son Vyasa, he's good at it, etc. Our younger son, no comment. So the other day, he was in the bathroom for a long time, too long. And then when he came out, I said, Chuka, did you brush your teeth? He said, of course. So I said, Chuka, can I smell your breath? And he was just going in circles and circles and circles till I finally held him and smelled his breath and said, you didn't brush your teeth. So I went and brushed his teeth for him. But the next day, I was here in Connecticut. I was talking to him in the morning, and he had asked me, Appa, do you want to smell my breath? Remember, I'm on the phone in Connecticut. He's on the phone in Niagara. And I said, of course. So he starts breathing through the phone and he says, can you smell my breath? And my point in all of this, he has no doubt that his breath is going through this phone into my nostrils, but how freely he lives without this doubt. How freely we can live if we start to tune in. There is no joy outside of us. There's only joy inside of us. While in Connecticut, I'm facilitating our 10th Marriage Enrichment Retreat. The theme this year is the joy of caring. And I've tried to present an equation to the students here that care plus change equals contentment. Care plus change equals contentment. The words we have used in the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 17, yajna plus tapa equals dana. Equals dana. See how manipulative I am? I can take chapter 17 and force it into an equation about marriage. On Friday, your application was to memorize verse 20. And I know you have, and I'm flowing through this again so that our memorization is infused with meaning. Datavyam iti yad danam And we'll just go quarter by quarter. We'll go quarter by quarter. That way it's very clear. I had mentioned that kartavyam is aligned with dharma. This is one's responsibility. Now Shri Krishna has changed the word to datavyam, and this is aligned with privilege. Privilege. I know a lot of you well. We've eaten together, we've traveled together, we've stayed together, and not for a short time. I mean 10 years, 15 years. And so I am confident in sharing that the majority of you are privileged. However, the reflection here is you are only privileged if you share this privilege. If you don't share this, I question your privilege then. And here in this retreat, I had shared it. It was my privilege to live in the Gurukula, to learn to love myself. And so this is only a privilege if I can share some of that, of what I learned in the Gurukula with those I interact with. Datavyam, this is your privilege. Diyate nupakarine, second quarter. Anupakarine means the one who you use less. Extending this reflection, quite often when it comes to giving, effort or time or resources, what we tend to do is calculate. In this retreat, we've been calculating, I do this much housework, my wife does this much housework, it's not fair. I read a book to our kids called It's Not Fair, and every page says, it's not fair. Because that's what a childish person thinks. It's not fair. As long as you calculate, in this case in terms of resources, you will lose. You will never feel good about yourself, and so you won't feel good about the people around you. So anupakarine, it is to give without any utility to you. Utility and calculation really go together. Some refinements to our giving. Certainly there should be a notion of, I don't get, but give me some techniques on to give. Shri Krishna shares, desha. You should factor in or consider space. The extension of this reflection is, keep what you need and give what you want. If it's a want, which means you don't need it. But undoubtedly, the circle of this world, there is someone who needs this. Take your want, give it to them, so your want turns into their need. That's desha. And this is not new. We studied this in 2020. Aparigraha means non-collecting. I shared so many thoughts about, if you haven't used it in 6 months, give it. If you haven't used it in 1 year, give it. The word dhananjaya means the one who makes wealth flow. Then kala. That's the next consideration. When is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time to plant a tree? Now. When is the best time to practice charity? 20 years ago. But we just joined Meaningful Morning, so what's the next best time? Now. Otherwise, if I give you this time quote, to be late is to not care at all. For the person who feels I'm going to donate tomorrow, a very strong message from that is, maybe you don't care about that particular purpose or cause. Next is patra. Patra means to whom, the cause, the vessel to which your generosity is offered. And I gave you a framework yesterday. 60% to yourself, 20% swajanaya, that is your family, and 20% dharmaya, that is towards community, society, humanity, to further dharma. My observation with people is they do give 60% to themselves. That's checked off. But where they falter is a lot of what should go to dharmaya goes to swajanaya. Instead of 20% to community and society, you know how much the average American gives in charity? 1.8%. Where's that gap of 18% going? Swajanaya. It is sheltering their family, which only makes them weaker. In many religions, there is a practice that 10% of your check directly goes to the institution that you're engaged in. Do you know why in Bharatiya culture, back in the day, our institutions were so grand? Because people didn't need to be reminded to give 20%. These institutions were communal institutions. See how this social system has been broken now? And how much effort needs to be put in to rebuild the health of society. Tat danam satvikam smritam. You should know, you should remember that such dana is of the nature of being filled with lots of faith. And Puja Swami Tejomayananda had shared, dana dissolves mamatva. What does mamatva mean? My-ness. M-Y-ness. Dana helps us to dissolve mamatva. That is the precursor to dissolve ahamtva, which means I-ness. If you can't let go of my, you are never going to be able to let go of me. For all of the students in the highest vocation, that's the final part of our training. You are not an individual. You are infinite. But if you doubt this, you will always be an individual. If you reflect on this, you will shift to infinity. From Sattvic Dana to Rajasic Dana, but no comment. We already know this. Let's just keep proceeding. Nonetheless, for the sake of formality, verse 21. Yattu prayutpakarartham palam uddisha va punaha diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam raja samsmritam. Joy. First quarter, tu. Tu, there's a change in train of thought. Sattvic dana is a different dimension. Now we fall. 2, that dana, which is artham, where the purpose, prati upakari. Explaining these words. In the previous verse, the word upakari means beneficiary. Upakari means beneficiary. So in the previous verse, it was an-upakari. An means no. Who are you? You are not the beneficiary. Clear about that word? Now it changes in this verse. Prati upakari. Prati means to keep close. Who is the beneficiary? You are. Where whatever you give, you're giving because you want to make the beneficiary close to you, as in you. That is very different. And Uddishya, one's always looking for. Phala, phala here means a result, it means a fruit. In verse 17, Sri Krishna shares those who are quiet engage in aphala. Now in verse 21, those who are aggressive very much are inclined towards phala. And the word punaha means again and again and again. They give because they want to get. When they feel they've gotten, they give because they want to get more. What do we call this? An exchange. It's a barter system. It has nothing to do with philosophy or self-development. And specifically, you know that whatever you're doing is rajasic or filled with aggression if it's about likes. If I'm the beneficiary, I'm doing it from my narrative of likes. As soon as that rises, you know we have fallen from sattva to raja. Diyate, one does give, but how? Pariklishtam, with great hesitancy, with great reluctance does one give. We're slowly completing Srimad Bhagavatam. When we had explored when Rishi Sandipani was Sri Krishna's guide or guru, and Sri Krishna looked at Rishi Sandipani and said, "What dakshina can I offer?" And the implication of that is, you tell me what I should offer. It is from Rishi Sandipani's reference, not from Sri Krishna's reference. When does giving become hard? When it's about your reference and not about the presence or purpose or person to whom you are giving. I have reflected on over the past 16 years when it comes to fundraising and charity that we do this when we think about country. That I'm a Canadian and I want to give in Canada and not America. That's that pariklishtam. Or do I get a donation receipt from this? Pariklishtam. Those are your own conditions, which are not like how Sri Krishna operates. Smritam, please remember, tat danam, all that has been shared, is rajasam. It is of the nature of aggressiveness or having less faith. Final thought here. Pujaswami Tejomayananda has shared a lovely thought and a lovely discourse series on life is a gift, living is an art. I've spoken about this many times because I love it. And he starts off this whole idea with a gift, number one, is given by another. You shopping for Black Friday is not a gift. But now the second part, and this is the more refined one, it is to be given with love. If it's not given with love, it's not a gift. So now the implication of this, number one, how much have you really been given with love? And I feel that the only pure love that comes to us is from our trust triangle. And now, how much have you given? How much of what you give is backed by love? From fear, now to application. Yesterday, I had asked all of you to check your tax returns and measure your income and your charitable contributions. Do you want to debrief on this? So, I know money is so personal, even though it shouldn't be. It's not even yours. But whatever. At minimum, I feel 20% should be the minimum. Fine, 10%. If that's still too much, at minimum, you should be giving, however old you are, 10% of that. So I'm 30 years old. So I should give 3% of my gross income. And the beauty of this is, if I'm really aging, which means maturing, I'm becoming more generous. We're reaching Deepavali, and I've told all of you, have a sankalpa. Sankalpa means incremental change. This is such a measurable way to do this. Your application for this morning is to reflect on, if you are one with lots of faith, then you should be one who has little needs. Lots of faith equals little needs. Are you? That's your reflection. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be joy.